All right, so this is the final presentation of the 3 days, and it's on social media. So thank you for making it here at 2 o'clock on a Saturday. So appreciate you taking the time. So what I'm going to talk today about is social media foundations. So assuming that you know very little, what to post, when to post, how to respond, and the most frequently asked questions that I get asked when I talk to practices about social media. So for those of you that have you all been to the other talks, or is this your first one? Anybody been, is this your first? Okay, because this is my third talk. So this is your first? Okay, so if you scan the QR codes, or you can grab a card from me or Ian at the back, you can get a copy of all of the slides and all of the resources for all 3 talks this weekend. So grab that and scan, and that will also give you access to my Facebook group. So any questions, need for any clarification that you have following this talk, pop it into the group and I can reply. We've just been talking and somebody was asking for information, and I'll just record a video and pop it up there. So I start all of my talks talking about the challenges that I see in the dental industry across the board. So I'm seeing, and I'm guessing you're seeing the same, is increased competition like we've never seen it before. There is a huge issue with attracting and retaining good team members. The biggest issue, I think, in the whole of the industry at the moment. We've got ever rising operating costs, so it is a struggle to keep the doors open, to put it bluntly. Your patients are becoming much more marketing savvy, and because of that, they're actually more discerning when it comes to your treatments, buying your services. And with the cost of living crisis, there is that constant pressure of where dentistry is a discretionary spend, and your patients have the choice of whether they are going to take up their treatment plans, come back for their recalls. You know, there is pressure coming on all sides. Would you agree? And then when it comes to your marketing, on top of this, that I am guessing that you are being called by so many marketing agencies or suppliers or producer of a tool that are saying, hey, buy this, we guarantee that, we'll put you on front page 1 of Google, we'll guarantee 50 new amazing clients every second of the day. You know, it is absolutely ridiculous. On top of that, you've got team members that will have an opinion about what you should be doing in your practice, what you could do. Everybody has an opinion, right? Your friends, family, team members. And the reality is that marketing is constantly evolving. And for those of you that were here yesterday for the AI talk, and marketing, it is going to change beyond all recognition very soon. Well, last year, actually. So it's full on. There is so much information to know. And I'm guessing that you guys want to carry on delivering good clinical services to great patients. And actually, some of these things, when it comes to marketing, you wish they might just all disappear. So social media seems to be one of those areas that there are a lot of questions. People don't really know where to begin. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to keep the machine fed. So the problems that I'm seeing is not knowing what to post, not knowing when to post, how to actually get engagement when you put the posts up there. And, you know, should you actually be thinking about paid advertising, or is this purely organic? So who am I? I've been in marketing for 25 plus years, specifically in the dental area for the last 15 years. I have my own dental marketing agency. And my past is kind of a varied path to get to where I am now. So I am a pure maths grad and computing nerd. So everything, when I think about marketing, it's all about the analytics. It's all about repeatability, scalability, knowing the numbers. So when I'm talking about numbers, it's because I believe that the most important part of marketing is actually knowing your numbers. I wrote a book a number of years ago with everything that I thought that practices needed to know at that point. I've won multiple awards. I have been the head of marketing for one of the largest organisations in Australia and New Zealand. I can do it again, don't judge me. And now I work as a marketing strategist, working with small businesses, scale-up businesses, the best of the best that's out there in the dental marketing area, the dental area. And this year I will be launching an education platform, so an e-learning platform, so the practices can log in and actually learn what they need to do to market. Oh, I'm based in Sydney, and the agencies work with practices all over Australia and New Zealand. And the reason I've launched the platform is because obviously there's only one of me, and being able to do physical face-to-face training has a limit. So digitization of the book, my presentations, tip sheets, check-ins, everything that I think you guys need to know when you're thinking about marketing your practice. So why am I really here is I am passionate about you guys getting back in control of your marketing, understanding what you should and shouldn't be doing, what you should and shouldn't buy, to make sure that you are using your marketing time, marketing spend, marketing opportunity to the max. Okay, so social media. So we don't have a choice on whether we should do social media. The question is how well we do it. Would you agree? So 10 years ago, 2014, I did my first presentation at ADX on dental marketing. On social media marketing for dentists. And people were looking at me like I was crazy. Because why would a dentist need to be on social media? 10 years later, I think you'd agree that every dental practice is either on there or knows they need to be on there. Would you agree? Yeah. So what I see, and I'm hoping that this is not what you're experiencing, but across the board there seems to be a really haphazard, inconsistent way of posting. It's like, oh my goodness, I need to post something, let's shove it up there, forget about it for a couple of weeks, wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, think I've got to do something else, and there's just, posting because you know you should be. Not having a range of posts, so not really knowing what you should be posting, or generic, just pumping out the same thing. Poor quality, scary images, not branded, not tying it back to your practice brand, and then not linking your post back to your website so that patients actually are given a call to action, telling them to do something. And if there's one slide that I want you to remember today is thinking that social media is the silver bullet. Some people have the misconception that social media is the answer to their lack of patience. Social media is one form of marketing. It is not the form of marketing. Okay? The other large mistake is people thinking that this is a free platform, an organic platform, they can just put things out there and everything's going to be fine. It's neither the silver bullet, and it is actually not a completely free organic platform. So I've tried to pull it together into 7 easy steps for you to understand the basics of social media. So I'll go through the 7 steps. Sorry, just turning my timer back. There we go. So before I start, how do you actually feel about your practice's marketing? Who here thinks they're doing really well? No? Okay. Who thinks they're doing okay? Well done. Okay is good. Who's not really that happy? Okay. And who has no idea actually how they're doing? Thank you for your honesty. Okay. And that's a normal spread. So the foundations. And I just want to go right back to the basics and hit you with some numbers. 82% of all Australians are actively on social media. Is that a surprise? Not really. Okay. 1 hour and 53 minutes is on average how much the average Australian spends on social media. No real surprise there. Have you got members in your family that are spending a lot more than that? Or in your team? I'm guessing so. But I thought this was a really interesting one. The average Australian has 3 to 5 social media accounts. So everybody's on YouTube, I guess. So 3 to 5. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. Now, I said that social media is not a silver bullet. It's not the way that you are going to guarantee patients. What I do need you to understand is the behavior of your potential patients. So 81% of people will research online before buying. Would you agree? I mean, who here has ever bought something without actually doing any research online? Nobody, never. True? Typically, where do they go first? Website, everybody agree? Pretty much going to land on a website, and think outside of dentistry. If you are researching anything, whether it's a holiday, a restaurant, you're going to end up at their website. So for you guys, if your website is not up to scratch, fix it. And I do other seminars about what you need to do for your website. Okay, so it is absolutely important that your website is up to scratch. Online reviews, who here, when you're looking at a new service, are you looking at online reviews? Yep. So if you've got a problem with your practice, with the services, if your team's not responding, we've got flashing lights, is everything okay? Okay. Then fix your practice, okay? If you have got a practice that is getting a lot of low reviews, then do you think you should be fixing that as well? The third point of consideration. So when a patient is looking for you, they're going to look at your website. They're going to look at your reviews, and they are going to look at social media. It is a point of consideration. It is not a guaranteed, I'm going to do social media, so I'm going to get patients. Does that make sense? So social media is one of the 3 points that your patients are going to be looking at when they are making a decision about your practice versus your competitors. It is not the only thing that you need to do. Making sense? Consideration, it's 3 points. So why? Why is social media a thing? Why are people on there? If you think about a land before social media, did you as a practice have any way of controlling the conversation about your practice outside of the doors? Was there any way that you could really show how you were as a team behind the scenes, what kind of values you had behind, beyond the doors of your practice? You'd have your website, and that's like a brochure, but there was nothing that was living or breathing about your practice. Would you agree? Social media is here to stay because people want to buy from people. They want to know the people behind a business. They want to know what you care about, what you stand for. They want to get a feeling of how it is when they go to your practice. And that is why social media will be here and why you need to be taking part, because it gives you the opportunity to show them way more about your practice than your website or the time in the chair that you've got with them. So there's so much data, there's so much information, there's so many platforms, there's always the new, greatest, amazing thing. Which platform you should be on? So keep it simple, guys. You need to be on Facebook because it's the biggest in Australia. 59%. Dominant age, dominant being the number one, it's not everybody. So 25 to 54-year-olds, okay? So that's pretty much, I'm guessing, your target market. Instagram, second largest, 38%. Younger demographic, but still important. And then the third one If you are game and if you have the resources, then consider YouTube. Look at the percentage of people in Australia that are actually using YouTube. It is the highest. It's also the hardest. So if you're thinking and you're starting out and you want to do things properly, Facebook and Instagram, do them both. And then when you've nailed Facebook and Instagram, only then think about YouTube. Make sense? Okay. So what do you post? Quite literally, you need to post good content that is shareable, that looks good. And the advice that I always give is, imagine that you're at a dinner party and somebody comes up to you and they say, hey, you know, what do you do? My name's Carolyn. And you say, oh, I have a dental practice, I work in a dental practice. Do you then go, and did you know, here's some interesting stats about dentistry? Do you then say, and look, here's some really scary photos and videos of some procedures I've done this week? You're laughing, but it's true. And do you talk about yourself and then a little bit more about yourself? I hope you don't. Or do you have a conversation? Do you ask them questions? Do you kind of share something that's interesting? Do you tell them a little bit? Yeah? Is it more of a conversation and is it a little bit more relaxed? And things that might be interesting about your practice? Think of social media as an online dinner party. Don't be the world's most boring person, scary person, and don't repeat yourself endlessly, because what happens at a dinner party? Do you want to leave as quickly as possible? Same. And do not share those scary procedural photos that I know that you guys love, but your patients don't. You're laughing at me, okay? Unless your target market, if you are, is anybody a specialist practice here? No specialists? Okay, 2 specialists. So unless you are trying to market to other clinicians, so general dentists, don't share the procedural photos, because only other clinicians want to see them. Does that make sense? If you are using social media to attract patients and to make patients feel comfortable about your procedures and coming to see you, that is not appropriate. Before and afters. Okay, so there was a question here and I will show you some examples of before and afters. Yes. Okay, before and after, yes. During, no. I'll show you some examples. So I have lots of inspiration for you. All right, so here's the inspiration. It's like I planted you in the audience. All right, so think. So these are some categories to start you thinking about what you could actually post on social media. So what makes you different? Because I know that each and every one of you has got elements of your practice that you know is pretty unique. So this practice has hot towels. Is that noteworthy? Yeah. Do you want your patients to know that? Absolutely. Could be noise cancelling headphones, it could be a weighted blanket, it could be eye masks, it could be Netflix. What makes you different? If you are giving back, if you're taking part in charitable events, do you think that's noteworthy and your patients would like to know about that? And your potential patients? Absolutely. What makes you different? So if you are running promotions and events, and again, this is a whole nother conversation, this is also things that you should be posting about. So think about what's coming up, and I'm hopefully that you'll have a content calendar and you will know that you're having events, you might be having birthdays, you might be running promotions, but this needs to be pushed out on social media. Your team. Now, who here has got team members that would love to be on social media, and who has team members that would, yeah, absolutely. So are we going to respect them for that? We're going to force anybody into, you know, you've got to be part of social media and you've got to be doing TikToks? No. Okay, so that you'll have team members that want to do socials and people that don't. But the great thing about where social media is going now is before there used to be the face to video and, you know, you have to talk. You don't have to talk. You could have videos, you could have background images. You can work with people's comfort zones. But you need to get a release form. So I don't know about your employment contracts with all of your teams, but I actually recommend that you have it as part of your employment contract, because if you are active in social media, just get it done once and it's done forever. If you don't, I recommend that you get a consent form, that if you are taking photos or videos, that you just get your team members to sign that release form. Because the last thing we want to deal with is somebody saying, I need that taken down. Same for your website. Any images, take them down. Sorry, get a release form, otherwise you're taking them down. So, you know, you're going to have events in your practice. Just get your team, just day to day. This is not rocket science. Just think about what events you've got coming up. Take a photo, get it posted. Make your life easy. All right, so patience. User-generated content is actually going to be the thing that gets the most interactions. Second to your team. If you have got members of your patient base that you know are happy or would be happy to have their face on your socials, start asking. So when I work with practices, I actually recommend that at the beginning of the week, or even, you know, your morning huddles, say, who have we got coming in this week or today, and identify literally one patient and say, okay, you know, Mrs. Jones, she's been coming for however many years, she's really friendly. I'm going to ask her if she would mind having a photograph of her in the OHC because they got on like a house on fire. Okay? Or there's a family and they love you and they've recommended lots of patients to you. They could be, you know, happy to have a photo. So just think about your patients, because who here has got patients that love you and would probably do anything for you and would happily just have a photograph of you and them? It's about putting it front of mind, think about your patients, and just have this systemized. Again, make sure that they have a release form. If you do have patients that are crazy all over TikTok and they want to post it themselves, that is even better. And if you can persuade them to have a photo and they put it on their social media, that's the gold. So this one, example of just a friendly team with a patient, everybody's looking happy, it's cute. Before and afters. And I'll show you more before and afters, but these land, okay? Before and afters are really important, because when people are assessing you and your practice, they're gonna have in their mind a thought of how bad they are. If they see something and they go, wow, that's quite an amazing transformation, and they were way worse than me, do you think that is a really powerful message for you to get through in a really easy way? The reason I've got full face and mouth, I know you guys look at people in a strange way, but do you think your patients just look at people's mouths, or do you think they look at people's smiles and their smiles are part of their faces? Do you think when you are taking your before and afters and your procedural images, it would be really handy for you to have on file full face and the clinical and release forms? So again, planning and thinking about this. Think about what your end game is, and your end game should be procedural photos with full face photos, so that your potential patients can go, wow, that's an amazing transformation. So we're on socials and we're at the dinner party and we're trying to educate people and show them good things and explain how the team are and give them a feeling of the team. But actually, what do we actually want to do? Do we want them to have a good time and then go off and watch some cat videos and forget all about you? Or do we want them to actually go to your website and find something out? And it could be find out when the next appointment is, or find out how they get that offer, or find out how to book in, or find out how to send an inquiry form. You need to actually send them to your website. You need to tell them what you want them to do. So again, within this mix, you've got to think about sending them back to your website. So quite often people are doing a really great job on their social media, but they're not actually giving them actions to do. People like to be told what to do. Yeah, save time, book online, payment plans. Tell them what you want them to do. Because you've entertained them, you've informed them, now tell them what the next logical step is. You've got preferred provider status. Here's how to find out more. You've got some great dental tips. Send them back to the website. Does that make sense? You want to get them actually out of social media and on your website so they are focused, thinking about their oral health and wanting to do something with you. And ultimately we want that to be book in. And this is the step that is quite commonly forgotten. And then a brand. So we're all trying to get brand recognition. We want patients and potential patients to remember the name of your practice, because they remember Apple, don't they? And they remember the media channels. You actually want them to remember your name, your name, your name. So in your feed, I recommend that you actually do have posts that specifically have your logo in there, your name in there. So not just a happy, friendly team. Make sure that you've got some branding in there. And then there's videos. So static posts, we've talked a lot about static posts. The next level up is if you are comfortable with reels, with stories, with lives, with videos. Who here has gone the next level? Great. So that's kind of 101, 201. So literally the easiest thing that I recommend is for you to sit down with your team and just work through what are the most frequently asked questions that we get on a daily, weekly basis about our procedures. And I know that if I asked any one of you, you could probably rattle off, I don't know, 30, 40 questions. And I'm guessing that there is somebody in your team that could answer those 30 or 40 questions within a heartbeat, because you do it all day, every day. Do you agree? So if you have got a member of the team that is happy just to sit in front of a camera and rattle off those questions, you have got gold. Because you can capture those videos. And this was one of my coaching clients, and I literally said this, just find a member of your team, find the list of questions, plop them in front of a smartphone and just start recording. You can then repurpose, you can then slice, you've got content. You do not need to have a recording studio with amazing lights and a beautiful videographer. You can use a smartphone and just start recording. Does that sound like actually something that you could do within your practices? Doesn't need to be hard. It's social media. Nobody is going to expect the production of your practice to look like Channel 9. Short. But if you can get them to rattle, so the question was, are they short videos? If you can get somebody to just sit there and rattle, you can then just edit it and crop it down, and you can have little sound bites. So maximum, and it's a great question, thank you. Maximum video time is going to be a minute. Sound bites. But again, it's trial and error, and you can put this up then, you can see what happens, and you might find that for your audience, it might be 10-second, 20-second sound bites. And this is where, you know, when I said YouTube, This is where you can put those longer form videos. You can embed them into your website. You can then take those longer form ones and put them into shorts and YouTube shorts. So if you do have this amazing person in your practice that is happy to sit in front of a camera and talk, try it. I'm just going to go back to that one. So if you scan the QR code, I've actually written a tip sheet that's got a lot of tools that I recommend when I use social media for practices. One of them is actually a teleprompting piece of software, which is really cool, that you literally just write your little script in there, you put it on your smartphone, and it's a teleprompter. It's a free app, and so you can literally get a member of your team just to sit and read, and you can change the speed. It's really cool. So if people are a little bit nervous, you can just use that. So there is I can't remember how many, there's about a dozen pieces of software that I do recommend for social media. So this is my favorite slide, and I know that some of you are going to really appreciate this one, so please. This was somebody's Instagram channel. Okay. One of the most extreme examples, but do you think your potential patients will want to see this, guys? No. Okay? Even if you are a specialist, Facebook, Instagram is not the place for procedural videos or photos. With the exception that I said this once, and then there was a guy in the audience and he said, actually, there's a person on socials called, I think it was Dr. Blood, and this was his speciality, that he put all of the gory procedures out there for a very weird audience. So unless you are Dr. Blood, don't do this, please. So visuals. Social media is a visual platform, and you need to have a mix. Mix of your team, mix of your procedures, mix of aesthetic images, aspirational images. Remember when I said about having ones with your branding? Can you see how subtle this is? That they've got the practice branding in there, they've got the practice name. But unless you're looking and realizing what they've done, it just looks like, hey, natural photos in the practice, but they have placed it in there. Very, very clever. So it looks like just, you know, beautiful practice, beautiful people, but there's their brand. So when you're looking at it, you see the brand. Same, before and afters, actual treatments, and then they've started putting some brand messaging through there as well. My recommendation is you go through and you look at socials and you look at the dentists that you love and start analysing, thinking, why do I love this? Why is this working? What are they doing? And just get inspirational, critical eye. So some post ideas, if you need some ideas, behind the scenes, okay? Everybody wants to know about the people behind the brand. Profiles or interviews with your team. People want to know about the people in your practice. Community, we've talked about. Charities, we've talked about. Success stories, we've talked about. Befores and afters, full face. New services, new technology. Your patients want to be kept up to date. Your potential patients want to know that you have innovation in your practice. Frequently asked questions, we've talked about this. You guys could write content for the rest of your lives probably with all of that information that your patients want to know. So start producing. And then the dinner party conversation, okay? Engaging questions, including conversations and interactions. So the last thing I want you to do is to sit there and think about, what have I got to post today? I recommend that you post in advance, that you have a schedule and you start mapping out key dates, key events. Map it out, quarter Once a quarter is the ideal, so 3 months worth of posts. So you can just sit there and you can brainstorm. Decide what days you're going to post. So if you can't do 5 days a week or 7 days a week, say, okay, I can do 3 days. That's the most I can do. I can only do 1 day, but make sure that you are doing it consistently. Okay, pick a number of days and do it and plan it. The easiest hack is a specific formula. So if you have, let's say we're going to have an interesting fact, we're going to have a behind the scenes, and we're going to have a treatment. 3 days, 3 posts, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You're doing 12 weeks, 3 months. All you've got to do is get 12 photos of your team. You've got to gather 12 procedure before afters, and you've got to think about 12 interesting facts. 3 months worth of content. Do you think you guys could do that easily tomorrow if you just start thinking about this strategically? So then you've planned, you've created, schedule, create and schedule, and then you can forget about it. Start planning ahead. Now, favorite conversation that we were talking about earlier is responding to comments. So with socials, you're going to have, hopefully you're going to have interactions. Always reply. So let's just say that you're at a dinner party and you're telling them an interesting fact, and they say, that's great, and they ask you a question. Do you think it might be polite for you to reply? The number of social media accounts where people have replied, where your patients have left a comment and the practice has not replied. Is that rude? Would you do that at a dinner party and get away with it? No way. Check, monitor your socials and make sure that you are replying and say thank you. It's all you have to do. If you are getting negative comments, and I know that that is probably one of the biggest fears of practices, putting things, I'm getting some nods, out online. And there was an example of this where it was a practice in WA, and they had had a pretty brutal comment from somebody that was actually not a patient, and we suspect it was probably a competitor. I'm going to give you two questions here. Do you think the right way to answer is to go all out and abusive and lose your plot and just show the ugliest, nastiest part of you? Or do you think you should say, sorry about your concerns, Fred, we've looked in your patient database, you don't seem to have been a patient, you must be confusing us with another practice. We're sorry you had this terrible experience, because at our practice we believe in delivering great dental care. Do you think that might be more? Okay, when you are replying to a negative comment, who is it that's going to read this? Everybody. Absolutely, everybody is going to reply. So please think the best side of you, the side that you want to take to the dinner party and stand on the stage and for everybody to see. So increasing interaction, I know this is where we talk about organic. And I put posts up and nobody replies. Do you know why nobody replies? Because the platform is limiting the people that are seeing your posts. 1 to 6% on Facebook, 6 to 10 on Instagram. You know I said Instagram is going to give you higher interactions. That is why. The platform is reducing it. Do you know why? Why is the platform reducing people seeing your posts? So it wants you to pay. Okay? Facebook and Instagram, the charitable organizations that we know, okay, they want you to pay. But there's a couple of things that you can do to increase that organic reach. So one is posting more frequently. It's a numbers game. The more you post, the more that these algorithms know that you're posting, and the more reach you will get. Okay, so posting more frequently, having this plan is going to increase the reach. The next one is actually getting the people that you can influence, which are your teams, to interact with your posts. So please, ask them if they could follow you. I know we can't tell them, but ask them. So please follow our social media. Please like the posts that we're posting. Please comment. And if they really like you, ask them to share. This is going to impact the social media algorithm. Yep, so question here was, can I put something on my counter to say follow us on social media? Absolutely, and with the world of the QR code, you can just create a little QR code, put it there and say, we'd love you to follow us. Absolutely. Ask people to help. People who like you, if you ask them for a favor, they genuinely will do you a favor. So be human, say we're a small business, because you guys are. Ask them. And then the final one is actually paid advertising. And we obviously don't have time, and I'm aware that we're running out of time. The reality is these platforms do not own, you do not own your patients, these platforms own the patients. So you are building these numbers, but you're building them for Facebook, for Instagram. The only real way that you are going to get significant reach is by paying these platforms. And then it comes down to what is the best return on your marketing dollar. But be under no misconception is social media is not a free platform. If you want to really use your platform, you need to pay. So anybody here using any social media ads, boosting? Some yes, some good. Tell me, are you getting good interaction? Are you getting good return on investment? Are you getting patients that way? Haphazard? Yeah, I agree. So in theory, the platform looks amazing, that you can do really specific targeting of age, demographics, location. But who here is aware that when people are sitting on their social media platforms watching their cat videos, they are not thinking, if only I could find a dentist in my area. They are not searching for you if they are just there. Your ads are interrupt marketing. You are hopefully interrupting their flow with a message that is so compelling that they go from, oh, my friend's new baby, or what an amusing cat video, to, I have always wanted to find a dentist in my area. Can you see? They're not looking for a dentist if they are scrolling. If you are advertising on Facebook, Instagram, it's interrupt marketing. You need to have something that is so strong and so compelling that it takes them off the platform. And that truly is why I still question how successful social media advertising is. I've yet to see the silver bullet. I've yet to see the 100% of the time this converts. And Ian at the back, I think, agrees. It's like, it has a place, but just be really aware and set your expectations appropriately. Try it if this is what you want to do, but go in with your eyes open. So, step 7, final step, is reviewing and assessing, okay? So obviously, you need to look at what you're doing. You need to think about what's working, what isn't working, what's getting the most interaction, and do more of it, okay? Think about your messaging. Think about who you're trying to target. And this was previous seminar this week, is think about what your potential patients want to hear from you and make sure that your messaging is answering those questions. So don't just head blindly into your quarterly social media posts. Go back and look at the previous quarter, see what's working. You know, tweak, analyze, learn. So, we've done our 7 steps, almost on time, I think. So the final message is be consistent. If you're going to do this, pick 1, 3, 5, 7 times a week, plan it out. Do not expect that this is going to happen overnight and you're going to get a whole ton of followers and you're going to get a whole ton of interactions. Just do it very slowly. give it to somebody in your team. So don't just say, hey, look, everybody can do this, we're going to do it together. Somebody has to own this or nobody will ever do it. Good content, get that interaction, think about paid advertising, track your results and make sure that you are not breaching any APRA advertising guidelines. This is the final seminar. Thank you very much. Scan, join the conversation, and if you did want to book, we've got a few at the back. Thank you, everybody. We've made it, and Core Practice are going to buy us all drinks if we go afterwards, because we've survived ADX.